Hey Astro Kids, and welcome back. This is your April 2020 horoscope for Aquarius Sun, Moon, or Rising. So a lot going on for those of you with Aquarius Rising. And before we get into the cards, I'd like to start by taking a look at the major shifts that are happening here in April. So if you enjoy this, feel free to leave a like as well as a comment. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell. And starting off here, this first major shift happened happened yesterday as Venus entered into Gemini. So we are here in this Venus and Gemini transit where we've left behind Venus and Taurus, which was at home in its home sign of sensuality and pleasure and happiness and very slow-paced, just enjoying the moment. Now this Venus energy is starting to speed up. It's more social. It's more wanting to connect and have fun and be lively and laugh and enjoy yourself with others. And so very different energy here that we're in with this Venus and Gemini. And this Venus and Gemini is playing a huge role as it is here in your fifth house of fun, of pleasure, of excitement, of creativity, of children, right? This is Venus sitting in your heart space. And so for many of you with Aquarius rising, this is a time of really wanting to have fun, wanting to be spontaneous, wanting to connect, wanting to be social. This is really putting a lot of this fun, loving, pleasure-seeking energy here in your heart space. And so this can really make those of you with Aquarius rising really liven up here with this transit of Venus and Gemini. And so many of you may have felt it yesterday as Venus came in and entered into Gemini. Now, Venus, starting off here, is making the aspect over to Pluto conjoined with Jupiter in Capricorn. And so this is very intense for many of you. This big, expansive transformation taking place in your 12th house of dreams, of spirituality, of escapism, of isolation, of your unconscious suppressed desires, of this more subtle, more hidden nature that is behind your Aquarius ascendant. And so many of you may not be aware of this transformation that is taking place within you, right? This subtle transformation that is taking place of really stepping into your power, really going through these intense changes that really are helping you through this Phoenix moment of really rising from the ashes, right? So this is a big moment for those of you with Aquarius rising, where many of you are coming out of this place of fear, of doubt, of pain, of hardships, and are rising up out of it, stepping into your power, into your authority. And that is this Saturn conjunct Mars sitting in your first house. And so this first house, all about identity, all about personality, self-expression, the way that you are presenting yourself to the world, your perspective on life, your journey, your experience through life. And so with this, through this transformation that is happening deep within, you are here expressing your authority, expressing your power, expressing this drive and responsibility to take on your position in life, right? So there's a lot of passion, a lot of energy, a lot of strength that is going into the way that you are expressing yourself to others, the way that you are presenting yourself to others. So this is a very powerful position here for many of you with Aquarius rising. Even those of you with Aquarius Sun or Moon may feel this as well. Now, Venus is also making an aspect over to Mercury and Neptune, which is sitting in your second house of finance, security, values, morals, possessions, right? This place of these things that you've worked up to build within your personal life. And so here there can be a lot of intuitive messages coming through that are helping to guide you, right? A lot of this very much unseen forces that are coming in here to change your values, to express to you where your true values and your true service really should go into. And so for many of you, this could be a time of really starting to think differently in terms of your values, your morals, where you're putting your worth and your time and your effort into. This can really change with this Neptune conjoined Mercury in your second house, where Neptune feels very much comfortable here in your house of security, as it is traditionally ruled by Pisces, right? So for many of you with Aquarius rising, this is a very normal placement for you. You are very flexible about your ideas, about your belief systems for many of you, right? And this is also making an aspect over to Chiron and the Sun sitting in Aries, sitting in your third house of the mind, of the intellect, of learning, of communicating, of neighbors, siblings, short distance travel, right? The things going on in your environment. And so with the Sun and Chiron sitting here, this can really change your position in the way that you are communicating and expressing yourself to others. And remember that with Aries traditionally sitting in your third house, many of you have a very direct, straightforward way of communicating, right? Where this could very much be breaking down that directness, for some of you breaking down the ego of how you must get your point across, how you must communicate and express your ideas, right? This is definitely bringing out a lot of questions and fears and insecurities and doubts and healing that needs to take place in this area for many of you, where this can really change the way that you are expressing and communicating yourself to be more gentle, more compassionate. And we do have Venus also making an aspect over to the Moon in Leo, which is sitting in your seventh house of relationships, of marriage, of business partners, of contracts, of your professional life, your public life, right? This is the way that you relate to others. With the Moon here, once again, this can change your way of communicating and connecting with others to the point where this is more gentle, more sensitive, more compassionate with the Moon sitting here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next major shift. On April 4th, today, we have Jupiter making the conjunction with Pluto. And this is something that will happen later this evening, right? Depending on where you are in the world. This will be around 10:45 p.m. on the East Coast, as Jupiter comes into an exact conjunction with Pluto. back in your 12th house, this is really once again creating this big expansive transformation that is happening deep within you. So this is really transforming who you are on a subconscious level. And so for many of you, it is really a great time to meditate, a great time for introspection, to go ahead and look deep within, as this transformation is happening at the deepest level to help you transform, to help you experience new ways of being in your life. So very, very deep transformation. For those of you who are not aware of this, who are seeking to understand this, this is a great time for meditating. This is a great time for journaling. This is a great time for dream journaling, for deep introspection, looking within yourself. And this Jupiter-Pluto conjunction is making the aspect over to Venus, which is now at 1 degrees of Gemini. Now, the interesting thing here is that Venus is making a square over to the moon in Virgo. So there's a little bit of this inner conflict that is happening here with the moon in Virgo, which is sitting back in your 8th house of these more private, more hidden areas of your life, right? Secrets, lies, insecurities, fears, deep desires, contracts, inheritances, shared resources, intimacy, sex, hidden knowledge, right? All of these deeper, more hidden, more intimate, private things going on behind the scenes. We have the moon sitting here. And so this can create a conflict between wanting to express yourself and show off your skills and your talents and your gifts to others, and really just wanting to be more private, wanting to come back more into your private personal life. And so there's a little bit of this conflict between wanting to stay to yourself and wanting to come out and express with others. And so there is this call to find balance between the two, right? Finding that balance of communicating and expressing and connecting with others, but also finding the time to come back to yourself and be alone, be in that space with yourself. Remember that this is a great time for you to have that deep introspection, to look deep within. For some of you, this is meditating, this is writing, this is dream journaling. However this applies to you, this is a time of really coming back deep within the self. And so there is this call of finding comfort in your private life, but also finding comfort in socializing and connecting and expressing yourself to others. So let's take a look at this next major shift, which will happen on April 11th when Mercury enters Aries. And so yes, Mercury is finally out of this daydreamy, foggy, imaginative, spiritual, mystical realm of Pisces. And it is finally in a space where it can make sense of things, where it can bring the information to you quickly here in Aries. And so as Mercury enters Aries, first of all, realize that right away this is making a conjunction over to Lilith and Chiron. And so this can bring a lot of deep fears, insecurities, deep desires, deep emotions, right? A lot of confusion, a lot of complicated feelings that can come to the surface here as Mercury comes in and enters into Aries. And again, this is sitting in your 3rd house, where many of you can get a lot of downloads of information and clarity in terms of these deeper feelings that are coming to the surface here. And Mercury is making a square over to the North Node in Cancer, which is at 1 degrees of Cancer. So the North Node is starting to come to that point where it will enter into Gemini. So the North Node is coming to that last critical degree, that last major point where this is it. This is your last chance to learn these lessons of this North Node in Cancer, which is sitting in your 6th house for many of you. This house of duties and responsibilities, of routine. And so there is something big to say here, that nurturing and taking care of yourself is in taking care of your health, in taking care of those daily responsibilities and routines that need to get done, and making sure that your work is done. And so for many of you, in order to fulfill this lesson and this destiny of this North Node in Cancer, you must be able to take care of the responsibilities in your life. And so for those of you who are not actively taking care of your health, not actively taking care of those chores and those responsibilities and those routines that need to get done in your life, this is in detriment to where you are in your life. This is in detriment to nurturing and serving who you are. And this will bring a lot of fears, a lot of insecurities, a lot of deeper feelings, misunderstood feelings to the surface. This is also making a trine over to the moon in Sagittarius, which is sitting back in your 11th house of social groups, organizations, friends, of these social interactions in these bigger, larger groups, of your hopes, your wishes, your dreams, your long-term goals being fulfilled. And so with this moon here, many of you here on the 11th can feel very much drawn to wanting to connect to your friends, wanting to connect out to more people, and for some of you wanting to tend to your long-term goals that you've put off. A lot of mental energy and curiosity and excitement is going into this area of your life here with the moon sitting here in Sag. Now, Mercury is also making an aspect over to Pluto and Jupiter once again, sitting back in that 12th house, creating these subconscious, more hidden, more subtle changes and transformations to help you grow and expand in who you are. And this is also making an aspect over to Saturn, which is conjoined with Mars here in Aquarius in your 1st house. And so there is something to say about how your authority and your responsibility and who you are is tied and connected to getting these responsibilities done, of taking care of your health, of connecting to others, of realizing these changes and these transformations that you were going through to evolve to become a better you. So let's take a look at this next major transit, which will take place on April 19th when the Sun enters Taurus. And so right away as the Sun enters Taurus, it is making a conjunction over to Uranus in Taurus, right? And we saw earlier Venus cross over this point of Uranus. Now this is the Sun crossing over, and this is happening in your house of home and family, right? So this is your more intimate connections, your home life, your private life, your family. For some of you, this is the connection to your mother. And so there's a lot of unexpected surprises and changes that are happening here within the home and family And as the sun comes in, it makes you consciously aware of these changes, even more so, that are happening here in your home life, that are here. And for many of you, your family is here to help you evolve and grow and become a better you through these changes and these unexpected moments and surprises. The sun is here to make you consciously aware of this, right? The sun is here as a light that is shining on this Uranus position. Now, the sun is also making a sextile over to the North Node in Cancer. Once again, this duty, this responsibility of taking care of and nurturing and serving your health, your daily routines and responsibilities in your life. And this is making an aspect over to Jupiter and Pluto, once again back in that 12th house, making these extreme changes and transformations to help you grow and evolve on a very subtle, more hidden level behind the scenes. And we also have the sun making an aspect over to Saturn in Aquarius. So once again, this is all about your duty and responsibility of being you and expressing and connecting with the world and the environment around you, right? There's a big responsibility and duty that is here that is very much associated with this Saturn in Aquarius, which is new, right? This is the first time that we are here with this Saturn in Aquarius in about 30 years, right? So some of you were not even alive for this Saturn in Aquarius experience. And this is a very different energy as we are seeing Saturn without Jupiter and Pluto, which they were in that tight conjunction, that tight stellium, for a very long time here in Capricorn. So this is a brand new reality. This is a brand new experience that many of you are stepping into. And this is putting the responsibility at the forefront of your life here with Saturn sitting in your first house. So let's take a look at this next major shift here, which will be the new moon in Taurus on April 22nd. And so we already have the sun here with this conjunction over to Uranus, but now the moon comes along to add into this conjunction. And so now we have our two luminaries conjoined with Uranus. And so now we're not shining one light, but two lights here on these major shifts in your home and family life that are here to help you evolve and grow. And this is making the aspect once again over to Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn, which are making these subtle behind the scenes transformations to help you grow and expand in your responsibility and duty to the world. But we also have this aspect, this semi-sextile over to Neptune in Pisces, where this can really feel like this is dissolving your old values, your foundation, your security. For some of you, your finances, right? For some of you, you may feel a call or a duty to donate or support on a financial level. And so there's a little bit of this Neptune sacrifice energy here sitting in your second house of finances and security. Now this is also making a sextile once again over to Venus in Gemini, as well as the North Node in Cancer. Right, so we have the full sextile over to the North Node in Cancer, and we have the minor aspect over to Venus in Gemini. And this Venus in Gemini is important as this is going to spend a very long time here in Gemini, right? We're not going to see Venus leave Gemini until July. So Venus will retrograde in Gemini. So we'll experience this for a very long time here, and it will meet up with the North Node in Gemini as well. So there's a lot going on here. As far as expressing yourself, showing your gifts, your talents, that there's a lot of major lessons that are coming in this area for you. Right? And this can affect, even when we talk about Venus sitting here, your romance and your dating life as well. And so we're going to see major changes and lessons that come up through that review period of Venus and Gemini, which we will see in May. But once again, with the North Node sitting in that 6th house of your daily routines and responsibilities, there is some work, there are some duties, some responsibilities to take care of before this North Node goes ahead and shifts into Gemini. And so keep in mind that the North Node is here at 0 degrees of Cancer. It is sitting at that last critical degree, that last moment to take that opportunity, that lesson in your life to serve yourself to the highest, greatest good by taking care of these lessons and duties and responsibilities in your life. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next major shift here, which will be Pluto retrograde on April 25th. So we talked about this Pluto-Jupiter conjunction sitting here in Capricorn, in your 12th house of the subconscious, of suppressed feelings, of unconscious desires, of the hidden, the subtle, behind the scenes, right? And so there are these, once again, more hidden, more subtle changes and transformations that are going on within you. But now with this Pluto retrograde, this is deepening this transformation even more, right? This is bringing up lessons. This is bringing up this review period of really these deeper, more internal transformations that are happening. So this is very deep for those of you with Aquarius rising. And those of you with Aquarius Sun or Moon, you may feel this as well, as this is a very deep, powerful, intense transformation that is happening deep within you. And this is making an aspect over to Mercury in Aries, which is conjoined with Lilith in Aries as well. Once again, bringing these deeper feelings and desires to the surface. But Mercury is here at the end of Aries, where it's starting to run off of the exhaust. It's starting to lose a little bit of that energy, as Mercury through Aries was very fast-paced, very direct, very straightforward, starting to slow down as it is coming to that point where it will enter Taurus, which will be a much slower energy that we will talk about in the next major planetary shift. Now, this Pluto retrograde is also making an aspect over to Neptune, right? So we're seeing the sextile over to Neptune in Pisces, where once again, these subtle changes and transformations that are happening in you, which are very much connected to your purpose, your authority at this moment, are creating this sacrifice, this dissolving effect of your values, of your security, of your finances. So let's go ahead and take a look at this last major planetary shift here, which will take place on April 27th when Mercury enters Taurus. And so now with Mercury in Taurus, Mercury is starting to slow down. It's starting to become more practical, more methodical. It's really asking you, as it is sitting here in your home of family, to really take your time to listen and communicate with those closest to you as they are helping you go through this change, this evolution process in your personal life. This is also making an aspect over to that Pluto retrograde conjunction with Jupiter as well as Saturn in Aquarius. Once again, very tied and connected to your responsibility and your authority in the world, in your environment, as you're going through these subtle, behind the scenes transformations to help you grow and expand in who you are and what you can offer to the world. And this is also making the sextile over to the North Node in Cancer, which once again is at that last degree point, that last critical moment here at 0 degrees of Cancer before it goes ahead and moves on to enter into Gemini. And it is conjoined by the moon, as this is the last time that we will see the moon here in a conjunction with the North Node, as it is going to shift into Gemini in early May. So the moon is here to shine a light on this North Node to say, this is the last time for you to take care of these North Node lessons and responsibilities of taking care of your health, of taking care of your daily responsibilities and duties, of handling the hardships and doing the work that is necessary here in your life before it goes ahead and shifts back into Gemini. Now, many of you may have noticed that there is no full moon on the list of these April transits. And that is because there will be a separate video on the full moon in Libra, which will take place on April 7th. And that will make a conjunction to Juno in Libra. So very much related to your belief systems, to the way that you relate to your lessons, your experiences, your journey through life, as it's sitting in your 9th house of philosophy, of belief systems, of higher education. So let's go ahead and see what the cards have to say. So we start off here with the 8 of Wands in reverse, where it can really feel like there is a lot of pieces to be sorted out and understood on a deeper level within you, a lot that is out of place, a lot that is out of order, right? A lot of things that really don't make sense, things that are unexpected, even some surprises and some good things that are falling into place that don't necessarily make sense. So once again, this is this transformation that is happening on a deeper subconscious level for many of you with Aquarius rising, that there's a lot that is going on deep within. But it is asking you to maintain the confidence and the strength to go through this change, this transformation, to understand at a deeper level where you are and what you are experiencing. And again, for many of you, this is time for deep reflection. This is time for meditation. This is time for journaling. This is time for writing down your dreams, to deeply understand what is going on beneath the surface. Seven of Pentacles, once again, very much connected to that North Node sitting in your 6th house of work and responsibilities. That there's a lot here that needs to be taken care of deep within you. A lot of personal work and planting of seeds getting things done that needs to take place really on a deeper level. So start planting your seeds, start taking care of your health, start getting the work that needs to get done, start taking care of responsibilities in your personal life. We have the Nine of Pentacles in reverse as well. And so there is a lot here that needs to be released. And this is a releasing time of, for many of you, your values, your finances, your security. Once again, that this is releasing of these old attachments, these old values, these old systems, these old structures here in your life. So this is a moment of needing to let go so that you can move on in your life. And again, going along with that, Venus sitting in your 5th house, as well as Saturn sitting in your 1st house, there is something big to say about nurturing and loving yourself, expressing who you are, claiming that personal authority of who you are, with the Emperor sitting here in reverse. So for many of you, this is time for you to pay attention to loving yourself more, appreciating yourself more, realizing your value, realizing your authority and your position in life. And going along with that, we have the Sun in reverse, where it's time for you to be you. It's time for you to express yourself. It's time for you to put your gifts and your talents and your skills out there for others to see. It's time to be in the light and to do your duty. And for many of you, with this strong Aquarius energy, you are called towards helping others. You were called towards serving others, connecting to others. As Aquarius is the humanitarian, that it's time for you to shine that light to others so that they can see your healing gifts, so that they can see your gift of connecting and helping and sharing. And to nurture those ideas of being able to communicate, being able to help, being able to show up for others. Again, a lot that is going on in your house of home and family, as well as that 3rd house, right? So a lot of healing that needs to be done for many of you in terms of the way that you're thinking, the way that you're communicating, and being able to heal and nurture that part of yourself so that you can utilize this to help others as well. Remember, Chiron sitting in your 3rd house. So that wounded healer energy of going ahead and nurturing and healing that part of yourself so that you can share with others that part of yourself to help them in their lives in terms of that 3rd house, that intellect, that communication. We also have Sagittarius here, where again, it's time for you to expand, to journey out, to connect with others, to show more of your truth and your belief system and your ideas to the world, to others, to help lift others up, right? The Sagittarius energy, very optimistic, very humorous, very lighthearted, here to help lift others, to help teach others, to help serve others. We also have Earth in reverse, where once again, this is the feeling of your stability, your security, your values. For many of you, that are really feeling like they are being broken down, being dissolved. Again, this could be serving others financially or changing your values to help others in society. There's this element of this Neptune sacrifice sitting in your house of finance, of security. And again, we have Gemini and Air here in reverse, where this is all about communicating, thinking, right? And so, once again, there's a lot of change. There's a lot of healing that needs to take place here for many of you. Many of you shying away, not wanting to connect, not wanting to communicate, sort of staying in your own private life, isolating away from society. Remember, we talked about that Jupiter Pluto conjunction back in your 12th house. And so with Jupiter sitting in your 12th house, you may feel as though you want to overindulge in isolation and seclusion. And so there is this feeling of disconnect, this feeling of really not being in on really sharing your thoughts and communicating with others. But this is very important as Mercury, the ruler of communication, right, the planet of communication, comes in here, where you are being called to communicate and connect with others. This is a part of your duty and your responsibility at this time. And remember that work life of being practical, being organized, taking care of responsibilities and duties and routines in your life. For some of you, taking care of your health is very important at this time. We have water here as well, where this is time, once again, for deep introspection, for trusting in your intuition, for going deep into those subconscious feelings beneath the surface, right? And a lot of feelings that are coming up with this Chiron and Lilith sitting in your house of intellect, of communication, of the mind. We also have Jupiter return, benefits in reverse. And so for those of you who are not aware, the planets do go through a period called a return, which is where the planet returns to the exact placement of which you were born at. And so Jupiter returns are something that are very common that happen in your life when Jupiter returns back to the exact placement that it was in at the time of birth. And when this happens, for many people, when Jupiter returns back to the place that they were born at, this does create a time of abundance, of joy, of lots of benefits and good luck and good fortune coming into their lives. And so here with Jupiter return in reverse, there's something to say here about how you are blocking your benefits and your abundance that can come in, and really not sharing in the abundance and the teachings and the lessons that you can share with others. And so there is something big to say about knowing your duty and responsibility at this time and how to step into that so that you can open up this experience for others to learn, to grow, right? So this first begins on a personal level, and this helps you expand to others. And this goes along with that duty and responsibility of communicating, of helping, of assisting others at this time. We also have the South Node, life's debts, in reverse. And so there is something to say here about, and for those of you who don't know, the South Node is in Capricorn at the moment. South Node is always opposite the North Node. So we're in this current lesson of finding deeper connections and nurturing and caring for and serving and doing what is comfortable and stable and connected to home and family, opposed to this South Node in Capricorn, which is about the government, the system, the structure, the foundation, right? So we're in this space currently of moving away from the system, the foundation, the structure, the work, the status, and moving more towards the home, more towards connection, more towards what is emotionally fulfilling. And remember that that is that North Node in your 6th house of taking care of responsibilities and routines and duties and taking care of your health and making sure that that is nurtured and cared for in your life. And so here with the South Node in reverse, there is something to say about you restricting and holding off on, once again, these benefits that you can experience here, and these benefits that others can experience in your sharing of knowledge, of communication, of assistance. And so many of you are sort of in your own little karmic pattern, in your own restriction of karma, of harder lessons and difficulties. And this is not from the universe, this is personal, right? So these are these karmic prisons and karmic holds that you are putting yourself in by secluding, by holding off, by not connecting and sharing and being there with others. Right, and very much connected to this time that we are in, where many of us are in lockdown, many of us are in quarantine inside in our homes. But there is something to say about also still communicating, still being social with others. And going along with that, we have the 10th house, the world, right? We talked about that 10th house for many of you is in Scorpio, right? The opposite of Taurus. And so for many of you, you are here to share controversial ideas. Many of you are here to help others transform, to empower others. Many of you are here to share deep, eccentric wisdom, right? To share ideas that are not accepted by society, right? Going along with this Aquarius ascendant that does, for many of you who have Aquarius rising, make you a little bit unusual, make you a little eccentric, a little different, a little unique on your own path, your own experience, right? But there is something big to say here about you being in a space of not putting that out to the world at the moment, of not holding that status and reputation, of sharing that deep, controversial, spiritual, underground, conspiracy, soulful wisdom, knowledge, right? for others to connect to. And so there is something big here about putting yourself out to the world. And we talked about that Venus sitting in your 5th house, which is also connected to fame, which is connected to expression, of creativity, of putting yourself out there for others to see. And so for many of you, this is a time of needing to share your knowledge, your gifts, your skills with the world to help others along their path, along their journey. We have Mercury retrograde, reinvention, in reverse. And so for many of you, you are resistant to the change. You are resistant to allowing yourself to be a part of society and to put your ideas and your communication out there to help others. And so remember that this change we talked about is this Pluto retrograde, this Pluto-Jupiter conjunction going on back in your 12th house, as well as Uranus sitting in your 4th house of family. That there's a lot of changes going on in your personal life, a lot of changes going on subtly behind the scenes, deep in your subconscious. And so there is something big here to say about stepping into this change, allowing yourself to review things at a deeper level, right? And this Pluto retrograde back in your 12th house is very much like a personal Mercury retrograde, very much like this time of review, this time of deep reflection, of going in, looking in, right? We talked about that earlier, of really realizing these changes that need to take place within you to help you grow and expand and become a better new version of yourself. And we have North Node, life's purpose. So again, this is destined for many of you with Aquarius rising. Many of you with Aquarius Sun or Moon may also feel this, that this is a destined time for you to do what your life's journey is all about as an Aquarius rising, which is being that humanitarian, being different, unique, putting those controversial ideas, putting those deep spiritual underground ideas out there, putting those thoughts and ideas and theories that are taboo or unaccepted by society or break the traditional views of society, right? So this is your time to shine. This is your time to do your purpose, to fulfill your life's mission. And we have fire element, desire. And so it is a time for you, again, where are your passions, creativities, desires coming from? That 5th house of Gemini, where Venus is asking you to be more social, asking you to connect, to communicate, to put your thoughts out there. So it is a time for you to really express yourself, really be more active, more passionate, really putting those deeper desires of, remember, Lilith sitting in that 3rd house, also communication, that 3rd house, communication and intellect. And so it is time for you to really express yourself and really put yourself out there, to put your creative ideas out there, to put your thoughts, your communication, right? To put all of this information and all of this connection out there that can help motivate and inspire others. Last card here is the 5 of Spades. And this number 5 here is all about change, right? New experiences, leaving the past behind. And it is in spades, which is all about communication, thinking, spirituality, belief systems. And so with the 5 of spades here, once again, it is time to adapt to the change. It is time to put your thoughts and your ideas out there. It's time to communicate. It's time to use your thinking and communicating skills to help change others in their lives. So that was your April 2020 horoscope for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Once again, if you enjoyed this, feel free to leave a like as well as a comment. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any new content. Feel free to join the group Astro Metaphysical Love and Light to share your thoughts, your motivational advice, your spiritual wisdom, your psychic readings, any kind of love and positivity to help others in their lives. Feel free to join the group. If you'd like to learn more about astrology, feel free to join the group Astrology Lessons with Daquan Jones to learn astrology with me. And I want to thank you all once again for joining in and watching. This was a longer video, so thanks to those who stuck around to the end. And I hope you all have a great day. I will see you in the next video.